Greetings, I'm SUNCARD19, and here's your June 2020 Outlook reading. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to shuffle the deck, I'm going to put it in 3 piles, and you're going to choose the pile that's best for you. Here we go. Today I'm using the Radiant Weight deck, so it's like a really vibrant tarot deck. All right. Two, three, four, five. 3, 4, 5. Okay, so what I want you to do is just focus on the pile that you believe is going to give you the information you need for June 2020 Outlook. Thinking about the month of June 2020, we have a black chalcedony, I have an amethyst cluster, and a tangerine quartz. So just focus on the one that's best for you, that's going to give you the information you need. And here we go. First, here we have the Ten of Swords reversed. Next, we have the Fool card reversed. We have the Eight of Swords reversed, the Three of Swords reversed, and the Moon card. Wow! So we got some things to deal with here. We got some juice to get through for this June 2020. So the Ten of Swords reversed has a lot to do with the ending of a cycle, and not really wanting to admit it or not really wanting to allow it to happen. And so, with a lot of swords here, this is something to do with the mental idea, something that you've been really thinking about, something that has been heavy on your mind. And so with this this Ten of Swords is like something that you wanted to pan out. You may have wanted it to happen and it just didn't quite go the right way. And so it is sort of the classic, the writings on the wall type idea. Like, this is the time where you could have been, if you were to let this thing go sooner, you wouldn't have wasted so much time and energy on it. And then we get into the idea of the sunken cost, where it's like, man, the more you put into something, the less likely you are to get out of it on time, or you're supposed to get out of it when you really need to. And so this is the idea of whatever it is that you're pouring a lot of energy into, but that's not necessarily serving you, that's not doing great for you. You're pouring energy into it, but it's really not going anywhere. And so that's your big clue. It says, all right, it's time to let this thing go. It's time to move on from the situation. And that's the Fool card reversed. To me, this is a card about being overly cautious, being way too cautious, not believing your abilities. So by being so cautious with this Fool card reversed, is like, why so cautious? Why so, why don't you have confidence that you can get through the situation, that you can move on from it, and that you won't necessarily have to be burdened by it longer than you need to. So what I would say is this could be a time where you sort of rebuild yourself and say, look, I do have the courage, I do have the strength to start over, I do have the strength to do something differently, which leads us to the Eight of Swords reversed. And this is like the mental cage, the mental box you've put yourself in. It's like you're here because you decided that you need to be here. And once you decide that you can get out of the situation, that you can move on during this June 2020, this thing that you can believe it, then you will understand that, although we're leading here to this Three of Swords, where the mental box you put yourself in, which leads to this idea of separation or moving away from something, because this is the end of the cycle, this thing's over, whether you want to admit it or not, and you've been boxing yourself in, and you're keeping yourself here longer than you need to. So this is accountability, where it's like it's over, but you're lingering and you don't have necessarily the courage that it takes to get through the situation. So the Eight of Swords reversed, to me, has a lot to do with overcoming and realizing that this is a mental barrier, a mental block. This is in your mind. You're not as stuck as you think you are. You're only as stuck as you've decided to be. And so this Eight of Swords, to me, has a lot to do with you realizing that you put yourself in this box, you put yourself in a situation, and that the only reason why you're still there is because you decided to be there and you decided to stay, even though it may not necessarily be good for you or a quality situation, which leads to the Three of Swords reverse. And it may feel, or it may seem on the outlook, when you first approach this situation, it may feel like the separation is just going to be so bad. And it's going to be like, oh, it's going to be like gut-wrenching, and to move away from this thing, and just the idea of walking away just feels so like icky, and you're like, I don't want that feeling. I don't want that sense of I walked away from this thing. I could have did more, and it just didn't pan out. And so with this Eight of Swords reversed and this Three of Swords next to each other, it says, look, you've decided in your mind that it's going to be worse than what it actually is going to be. And so the worry about it is actually worse than the thing itself. So when you worry about a situation, you suffer twice. You suffer during the worrying period, and then you suffer during the separation. And so let's not suffer twice, okay? And you got to decide that. Like, look, I'm going to go through whatever grief I got to go through when it actually happens, but I don't need to suffer about it up until that point too. So let's not suffer twice. Big theme here, which leads us to the Moon card. And the Moon card is like, you just don't know what you don't know. And that's what the Moon card says. Like, you just don't know. There's some things that you don't understand yet. There's some things that just sort of need to pan out, and it's just if things fluctuate. And so instead of being all upset and worried and just being so ever decided that everything's going to be bad and you don't have what it takes to get through this, the Moon card says, well, hang on a second. You may be fine. You might be okay. Like it may not be as bad as you think it's going to be. And you may not suffer as much as you decided that you're going to suffer, even though you're suffering twice here. And the Moon card says, just find out. The only way you're going to know is to actually go through it. You're already suffering in this sense. You're already dealing with a situation that has failed, that is over. Why suffer? Why continue to suffer here on the front end of what you're already going through because of some fear or something on the backside? And this Moon card says, hey, you really don't know. Like, you don't know. There's no guarantee that this situation is going to be as bad as you think it is. So it might actually be fine. And you have to give it a chance. You have to trust in your abilities. Have some courage. That's the Fool card reverse. It's like, hey, let's have some courage so that you can get through the situation, so that by the end of June 2020, you will be where you need to be. And you will be on the path to something better. You'll be on the journey or a situation where you can go towards something better, because where you are right now is not really that good. It's probably not good at all. And so, don't suffer twice. Sometimes you just got to pull the Band-Aid off and get through it. But if you worry about something for so long that you build it up in your mind, you make it worse than what it actually is. And so stop giving it energy and stop making it worse than what it actually is, so that you can move on and go, on to the next journey. I'm Elijah SUNCARD19. Thank you for picking this pile for this June 2020 outlook. This was pile number 1 with the Black Chalcedony. Thank you for choosing this. Be sure to hit the thumbs up. Make sure you comment. Subscribe to the channel so you can check all the videos and see them when they come up. Be sure to follow me on Instagram, follow me on Twitter, and if you're interested in reading tarot, I have a tarot course. So just click on the description, you'll be able to see the link to that. So click on that and see if you want to be interested in reading tarot yourself. All right, have a good one, y'all. Peace. Greetings, I'm Elijah SUNCARD19, and here is your June 2020 outlook reading. This is the second pile. This is the Amethyst cluster. Here we go. Up first, here we have the Five of Cups. The Five of Cups is a legitimate grief card. It's a card that says, listen, if you're grieving, if you're upset, if you're going through something for this June 2020, if it starts off rocky and you are going through something, it's legitimate. It's real. It's not something that's not fake. You didn't make it up. You may be going through a legit tough time. And that's okay, because that happens. That's real life. And so if you are upset, if you are grieving or sad in some kind of way, if yes, okay, give yourself that and say, it is what it is. I understand it's a rough situation. I'm allowed to be upset. I'm allowed to grieve. Give yourself that permission, because it's real. And you don't have to doubt it. You don't have to downplay it. You can give it the energy it deserves, because you don't want to suffer longer than you have to, and you don't want to have to be upset longer than you have to. And sometimes what happens is people, they don't give a situation its due right at the time, and then it kind of lingers. And it's like, be equally upset as you're supposed to be equally sad as you're supposed to be, so that when you start to heal and move away from the situation, you will have given it its proper amount of energy and you won't feel bad about it. You would have done your due diligence. which leads us here to the Nine of Cups. And this is the rebound card. This is a card that says, hey, you're going to be okay. There's a journey here. You know, we got some cups involved. And so we were talking about the emotional systems in your life, about the love in your life. And so this Nine of Cups says that there's healing. There's a return to where you want to be. So you may have some grief. You may have some loss. But this Nine of Cups leads to a fulfillment. This is a card that says, hey, although you may lose some things and, you know, you may deal with some loss, you may actually end up getting the things you want. And so it may look different than you realize right now, but throughout this month, I feel like things are going to go back in place. And so it may start off rocky, but then we transition towards things being settling, and maybe ultimately not as bad as you think it was going to be. And so we do this thing as humans. We overestimate how bad things are going to be, and we underestimate how good things are going to be. So this may be one of the situations where you actually land in the middle somewhere, and so may not be as bad as you think it is. And so you end up here with this Nine of Cups, and the Nine of Cups is about settling in and getting back into your rhythm and groove, and getting to a place where you can actually enjoy life and be fulfilled. Which leads us here to the Judgment card reverse, and says that I get a feeling this is a distraction from something bigger. The Judgment card as a card, to me, has a lot to do with you fulfilling your destiny as a person in this lifetime. Like, how do you do that? How do you go on your soul's journey? Like, you know, whatever it is the situation is, I feel like it's a distraction from something bigger. And when I say that, I feel like something may come to mind where it's like, whatever you're upset about, whatever you're feeling bad about, it may be legitimate, it may be real, but I feel like there's something else that is being a distraction from. It's like, wait a second, I actually, you know, although I'm focused on this situation that, you know, might suck, it's actually distracting me from some other situation. So I have some soul's journey, some big deal, like what is my life's purpose? And so with this situation is, and what I say here with this Judgment card reverse is, let's find that calling. Let's find that. Let's look at that. And I feel like it's being ignored, and this thing is sort of being used as a distraction to keep you away from something bigger, something that you're really supposed to be doing. Which leads us here to the Four of Pentacles. And so the Four of Pentacles just wants to play it safe all the time. Like, everything's safe, everything's cool, no risks, you know, consistent, steady. You know, there's some value here in the Four of Pentacles because it's not always time to be risky. But this says to me that this is the time to be risky. And I'm not talking like, you know, like unnecessary risk. When I say risky, it means about breaking your norm, breaking your routines, trying something different, getting out of your patterns, doing it differently. So here we have the Judgment card reverse. It says, listen, there is some calling that you are ignoring, and you're ignoring it. You're choosing the slow, steady, what I say here, the consistent life, the easy life, the good life, just good, but not great, not what you're really supposed to be fulfilling. You're not challenging yourself. You're just sort of coasting in a sense, not taking any risks, not being bad, not being terrible, not hurting anyone, but not taking any risks. So I feel like that's a challenge here, because in this situation, I feel like if you're really going to listen to your heart's call, if you're really going to answer your soul's purpose for this trip around, this incarnation, you got to be willing to give up safety and comfort for adventure. And you got to be able to go on it, which leads us to the Empress card, which is the motherhood card. So if that's a theme that you're thinking about, this is a great time to become a mother or to explore motherhood. But if that's not the case, this is a card about nurturing. It's a card about growing. And it's about building. So this Empress card could mean the birth of a new company. It could be the birth of a new adventure of some sort. And it's a calling. Will this Empress, this motherhood, this strong woman, this nature-like woman, will she answer the call of the Judgment card? Will she deal with grief while also, you know, seeking fulfillment in life, and really going after these two cards next to each other, everything about being fulfilled by answering your soul's call? Will she do it? Will that nurturing, motherly, strong energy answer the call? And will that person by the end of this June 2020, will you by the end of this June 2020 be someone that answers the call of your soul, where you can seek fulfillment, you can be fulfilled, you can go for the bigger goal, the bigger target, and stop playing it safe. And you can really attack some big thing where you can nurture and grow yourself, where you can grow into the person that you really need to be. Not the safe version of yourself, not the okay version of yourself, not the not terrible version of yourself, but the great version of yourself. And so this Judgment card to me is waiting for you to choose the adventure of your soul's calling and your true work to do here in this lifetime versus safety and comfort. And so safety and comfort definitely have their value. They're not to be undersold, but they will come at a price. To be safe, to be comfortable, in this case, will come at a price of you fulfilling your soul's journey. And hey, you know, you may get to the end of your lifetime and be like, man, I really wish I would have taken XYZ risks, but I didn't. And the Empress is calling on you to say, hey, let's nurture, let's grow. Let's remember that we can grow. You know, growth is not something that stops at a certain age. You know, it's not about reaching a certain height. It's about you as a person constantly challenging yourself to grow and to become something that you're totally supposed to become. So understand there's some distractions. Understand there's some emotional baggage here. But move from fulfillment beyond safety and comfort into growth and the idea of challenging yourself and growing and becoming a better person. So big deal for this June 2020. Make sure that you are not being distracted by the things that are right in front of you, and that you keep your eyes on the horizon looking for the big prize and the big calling, because that's where the big rewards are when you get out of that safety and that comfort zone and you decide to really take on what it is you're supposed to be doing this lifetime. I'm Elijah SUNCARD19. Thank you for choosing this reading. Thank you for choosing this pile. Thank you for watching this video. Be sure to hit the thumbs up button, comment, tell me why you chose this reading, tell me what it means to you and how it resonates, and then, you know, we can have a conversation about that. It'd be real cool. Be sure to follow me on Instagram and Twitter. And if you're interested in reading tarot, I have a course down in the description of the video. So click on that and see if you may be interested in learning how to read tarot yourself. All right, have a good one, y'all. Peace. Greetings, I'm Elijah SUNCARD19, and here is your June 2020 Outlook reading. This is pile number 3 with the Tangerine Quartz. Here we go. First here we have the Four of Cups reverse. This is a card about stagnant love and this stagnant emotions. It's like the idea of just sort of being in a rut, being in a pattern where things just the same over and over and over again. A lot of just redundant energy here. So the Four of Cups is like, hey, please, can we please have some adventure? Can we please do something differently? Can we try to approach life differently? Because it is beginning to be very monotonous, and it's beginning to be very the same thing over and over again. And that the Four of Cups reverse is like, please, let's just try something different. Can we do some different things? Can we go somewhere else, meet some new people, something? Which leads us to the Lover's card. And so if you are in a love relationship, if you are in a serious relationship, it's time to shake things up. And so what that can mean is read a different book, spend, exercise, try to have more sex, whatever you got to do, but just sort of pump some life into your relationship on purpose. Be intentional about it and say, listen, let's be lovers. Let's make love. This Four of Cups is like just sort of same routine. How do you break that routine? How do you pump life into an existing relationship? How do you go back to like that honeymoon period? Can you intentionally recreate that in your relationship? Possibly, maybe. And so let's pump some life into this love relationship. So for this June 2020, I think it's a big deal that, if you got some things in your life that are stagnant, haven't really grown in a while, haven't really been moving along, and especially if it's a love relationship, what I would do is, big deal is to intentionally plug some life and plug some energy into the relationship so that it can grow, it can flourish, it can have fun. You can look forward to seeing each other. You can have gratitude and just, really enjoy each other. So this is a call towards pushing in a certain direction so that things can get done. Which leads us here to the World card. And this is a completion card. It's a victory card. I feel like the lovers here in this situation is like a decent relationship, like a good relationship, like not terrible, not horrible, decent. And I feel like the world and lovers next to each other is like great. How to get to a great relationship? How do we go to like a really, really solid relationship to where it's like a victory relationship? Like, man, wow, like I'm really proud of this relationship. Like this thing is going pretty well. Like I'm happy. Just a lot of really good stuff going for this relationship. And how do we get to like a pretty good relationship to a great relationship, to a knock it out the park type relationship? And hey, it might take a little bit of energy, take some effort. It won't happen on its own. And this is like the coasting, like the idea of this sort of just been coasting. No real goals, no big deal, just coasting along. But this card says, let's get some real goals. Let's focus on some real goals so that this love relationship too can get to where it needs to be. Now, let's say you're not in a relationship at all, and this hasn't been applying to you so far. What this could mean is this is about your life in a sense where, let's say you are single. Let's take a sidetrack real quick. Let's say you're single and you chose this pile. Obviously, I'm focused on relationships. But let's say you're single. What I would say here to this Four of Cups is it's time to shake your life up. Let's get a gym membership. Let's get some new clothes. Let's be more exciting. Let's get out of your comfort zone. Let's do things differently so that you can attract this relationship and you can be in this relationship that's very fulfilling. And so you can find this relationship by being someone who is interesting, someone who's energetic, someone who's physically fit, someone who's exciting, someone who takes care of themselves. And so this is sort of like getting out of that rut. It's going through that personal makeover, like a self-called makeover where you like go out your way to buy new clothes and take care of your body and, grooming and all those things. Like you just like take it all to another level so that if you do jump into this relationship, you'll be much more happy, much more satisfied. You may pick a quality mate for yourself. And so the Two of Swords reverse here is a card. It's like a crossroads. It's like, whoa, like if you don't do the things you're supposed to do, like if you're in a relationship and you don't take care of yourself, if you're not interesting, if you're not grooming, if you've gotten complacent and you yourself have gotten boring, you will pay a price for it. And this is the Two of Swords reverse and the Five of Wands. And so if you allow your relationship to become stagnant and you didn't go out your way to help it with these two cards, then you'll lead to these two cards. And so the Two of Swords reverse and the Five of Wands reverse have a lot to do with the crossroads. This is the you could end up here or you could end up here card. This is the fork in the road. And it's not decided yet because you got to decide. And so with this fork in the road, the other side of it is the Five of Wands. And the Five of Wands in a relationship is like just fighting, battling, and being on the wrong page. Like two people being on different pages. And so this Four of Cups has a choice. Being in this position is like, you can just let things coast along and not make any significant changes and just sort of hope. And knowing the hope's not a plan, but you could sort of hope that things could get better. Or you can take deliberate action to take care of your health, become interesting, be funny, crack a joke, learn a joke, crack a joke, whatever you gotta do. Grooming and clothes and all that kind of stuff. Pump some life into yourself so that your person wants to be with you. And so you got this relationship that could be pretty solid. You taking care of yourself and you pumping energy into your relationship, not stagnant, not complacent energy. This is like hungry energy, someone who wants to be in a great relationship. And so get past this fork in the road here so that this Five of Wands is like a battle card. It's like battle and fighting with no end in mind. It's like the goal is to battle and the goal is to fight. And so I feel like the relationship needs to get shaken up a little bit. And it's either going to get shaken up through intentional behavior about improving it, or it might get shaken up through fighting. So, it seems like the stagnant period that you're in can't go on forever because it's either going to be an improved relationship or a fighting relationship. But just boring has to come off the table because it's either going to be battle or making love. Like, you decide, because boring is not going to last. And so the soul is craving, like, I feel like the people here are craving energy, they're craving excitement, they're craving love and passion, and it's just not there right now. and it can be sparked, it can be put back into it, but it's going to take some intentional effort. It's going to take some work. And so for this June 2020 outlook reading, I feel like if you're in a love relationship, let's put some spark into it. Let's put some spunk into it, some fight into it, and fight in a good way. Fight like a life, some passion into it. If you're not in a relationship, what I would say is let's kickstart you. Let's make you someone who is exciting, someone who is well kept, someone who is interesting and funny and physically fit, so that you can attract the proper relationship for yourself, and you don't end up in a situation where you're battling with people instead of being in love and enjoying the relationship. I'm SUNCARD19. Thanks for letting me read for you. Thank you for choosing this pile. Thank you for watching this reading. I appreciate you being here. Be sure to hit the thumbs up. Be sure to subscribe. Leave a comment. Tell me why you chose this reading and what it means to you. Be sure to follow me on Instagram. Follow me on Twitter. Check me out over there. Some good content. Subscribe to the channel if I didn't say that already. Also, if you're interested in reading tarot, I have an online tarot course where you can learn to read for yourself. And that's in the description. So check that out. Let me know what you think. All right. Have a good one, y'all. Peace.